little girl with long and silky curls. My mama told me, honey, you got more than other girls. Now you may not be good looking, though you'll soon wear diamond clips. And you'll never have to worry, 'cause you got lucky lips. Lucky lips are...
Hi everybody, I'm Jay Reid with the Chicago Music Guide. Today, I'm talking with Chicago vocalist Solitaire, who leads the band Susie Blue and the Lonesome Fellas. She'll be chatting with us today about their newest CD, begun in 2020, Blue Train. Hi, Solitaire.
Hey, Jay, how you doing?
I'm not bad. It's great to hear from you. I hear you have this new release that you recently recorded in Chicago. Can you tell me a bit about this project? It seems to have a different sound. Your last two albums had a more retro country western swing feel, while this one is more jazzy, bluesy rockabilly. It sort of sidesteps the country western swing influences. Is this your way of integrating your jazz roots and putting your own spin on the genre?
Well, you know, I started out as a jazz singer and worked in jazz for about 20 years. And in 2014, we started the Western Swing Group just for fun. It was just sort of like, oh, you know, everybody's doing albums of standards. Let's try something different. And the critics really seemed to like it because one critic, Scott Yanow, said to me, I think it was 2014, more women recorded albums of big band standards or of jazz standards than in the history of music. He's like, It's so refreshing to get a submission from a singer who's not singing My Funny Valentine, you know?
Yeah.
So we kind of changed it around with the Western Swing, and we did two albums of some really great Western Swing material. Now, one thing that folks don't realize if they haven't studied music history is that Western Swing was part of the evolution of modern rock and roll. The very famous band Bill Haley and the Comets, they were originally a Western Swing band in the early 50s, and then they transitioned into this like rock sound. And they became like the first official band to become a rock and roll band. So I wanted to take music from the mid to late 50s into the early 60s and put it on this album. And that was a really interesting time period.
Along this track, I'd like to say I really like the dirty guitar sounds in songs like She'll Be Gone and Humming to Myself, and I love your bluesy throat. And I also love the strong harmonica work in the tunes like Give Up That Honey and the title track Blue Train. Is the band as jazzed by these innovations as the music?
They are a mixture of musicians. Howard Levy, who plays harmonica, plays classical music, he plays jazz, he plays pop, folk, retro country. I mean, he's amazing. He's like a virtuoso of the harmonica, and he can play any style. You know, but all of the musicians are trained to play in several genres. And so you can't just say, well, they only do jazz or they only do blues, because they have to do it all to survive, to pay their mortgage. Howard was very famous and won Grammy Awards for his work with the band The Flecktones.
Oh, nice.
You know, and they really mix it up a lot, too. So I chose musicians that I liked, that I knew were great players, but I know that they can also play a variety of styles.
And they have a great reach, like you do. Can you tell me a bit about some great new singers in the band?
We have a couple singers that we added to this project, Jen Zayas, and then another wonderful singer, Mike Harvey, in Chicago. So I was really glad to bring in some wonderful backup singers who are very experienced and seasoned. So we have a wonderful singer joining us from the United Kingdom. That's Dominic Halpin, and he sings a duet with us on this tune called Forever Yours. It's a love ballad. And he does a lot of crossover stuff, including jazz, swing, big band, and rockabilly, too. And a lot of folks really love Dominic's voice. They say that the two of us blend well together. So it was really awesome that we were able to do a duet together, and he didn't have to leave the UK. He recorded his part in England. And that is like the best part of all of this modern technology, especially with COVID and everybody working from home. And
if COVID played a role in this integration of these new people, and if the Zoom Boom helped you fuel more creativity and inclusion.
Of course it did. So I had originally recorded Forever Yours to do it myself, and it's such a beautiful ballad. I thought, well, wouldn't this sound great if it was a longing couple? And It's a 1950s song. I think it was written in 1956 by Carl Perkins. And it's just kind of a sad, melancholy, I miss you kind of song. And so it worked out really well having the two of us croon it together.
Right. It sounded really good, too, in these sort of kind of, sad times, but in a way, it was kind of a positive spin that the pandemic had on your profession here. Yeah, that's kind of a nice thing that the shutdown helped you open up some new things, new tracks.
Yeah. We wanted to make this album sort of like a snapshot of a time period between the 50s and 60s when you had all those different influences shaping modern music. You had Western swing, you had retro country, you had gospel. Elvis came from like a gospel blues background. Right. You have the roots music, you have the blues, and then you have some pop. And the song list kind of has all of those different influences.
Well, that takes me into my next question. You're talking about the song list. How do you pick these tracks? You seem to have this talent for finding really obscure songs from renowned artists like Sarah Vaughan's lyrics from Peter Gunn and Ruth Brown's Lucky Lips. How do you find these long-lost gems, and how do you know they're right for you?
Thank you for saying that. And I don't know, I grew up listening to music as an only child. I spent a lot of time with my parents and my grandparents' record collection, really bored on Sunday afternoons. So I heard a lot of music growing up, and history is kind of like my geek hobby. So I found some of these tunes because I'd heard them growing up, like the Peter Gunn Theme. Henry Mancini wrote that, and only one singer that I know of has ever recorded it with the lyrics, and that's Sarah Vaughan. So that's kind of cool.
Wonderful, and it's just a joy to listen to.
Oh, the band is awesome on it, aren't they?
They really are. Tell me more about the title track, Blue Train, and why you chose to name the CD after it.
The song Blue Train was written by a really talented songwriter and friend of mine in Los Angeles, Mel Harker. And when I took a couple of his songs into the studio, we were recording like on a June afternoon. We hadn't had any rehearsal time previous. So I just gave these charts out to the guys, and they got their hands on Blue Train, and within 2 takes, they got this amazing song. Howard is featured on harmonica, and Neal tears it up on guitar. And it was just like, when I got home with the rough mixes that night, and I heard Blue Train, I couldn't stop listening to it. I listened to it every day for a month. I was so excited. The guys had a lot of enthusiasm when they were playing it. They had fun, and you can hear that they were having fun. And I think it's really important to allow your musicians to create their own arrangements sort of within your song. I go in there and I tell them what I have in mind for the song, but they're soloists. They know what they can do to make the song sound good. So I'm like, well, here's the basic chart, guys. And they went with it, man, and they just played the hell out of it, and it is a blast. So that's why I named the album Blue Train, because it's got so much energy and fun in it out of all of the tunes on the session.
And it pretty much drives the rest of the album.
I think so, because it ties it in from like that rockabilly, blues, jazz feel. Everything is in that one song. All of the genres. And, some people are genre sticklers, and they get kind of upset with me for not sticking to just jazz or just country. But
I like the blurring. I think we need more of these innovations. It's like a mashup, and it stretches music to new heights.
It does. It's the future of music. That's what happened in the late 50s and early 60s, right? Well, it's kind of happening now. All of these, young kids in their 20s are getting a hold of music from the 40s and 50s, and they're turning it into, like, popular music. Jazz vocals have never been more popular. So many young kids in their 20s are playing jazz, and then they're taking, like, popular songs from the 90s and turning them into jazz songs, or taking jazz songs and turning them into pop music. Everybody's stretching genres, everybody's blending, so I'm just doing what everybody else is doing.
Or maybe you led the charge.
We old school people, I've been singing jazz for 25 years, and I'd like to think that I've left some sort of legacy on the younger generations, but I think they're doing a really great job on their own.
Any plans upcoming for a CD release party or any promotions?
Yes, we have a CD release party coming up in June, and we're going to be sponsored by Chicago's WDCB Radio.
What experience are you hoping to give your listeners with this CD?
Well, we've been through a lot of hard times. but they're happy songs. It's a cheerful, upbeat album. I kind of want to lift people's spirits. I want them to walk away from listening to this saying, wow, that was a lot of fun. It took my mind off of things for an hour.
There you go. That's a nice thing to be able to bring to people in these hard times. I really have to thank you, Solitaire, for your time, for your music, and for your story. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Jay. It's been really great talking to you today, and we're always so very grateful for your reviews and any time you spend with us as a band. I hope that we can see you at one of our performances soon.
Oh, I hope so, too. And if you want to know more about Solitaire or about Susie Blue and the Lonesome Fellas, you can go to their website, SusieBlueLonesomeFellas.com. Thank you all for listening. I'm Jay Reid with the Chicago Music Guide. To read more reviews and hear about the latest musical happenings in this great city, go to ChicagoMusicGuide.com and find the best in music and Midwest entertainment. Bye now.
Every night your line is busy, all that buzzing makes me dizzy. Couldn't count on all my fingers all the dates you had with swingers. Bye, 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 baby. I'm gonna kiss you goodbye and go right through that doorway. So long, I'm leaving. This is the last time we'll meet on the street going your way. Don't look surprised, you know you buttered your bread, so now it's fair you should stare at the back of my head. If you write a letter to me, my former friend, don't you end with that RSVP. I'm going bye, bye. I'm moving. Tomorrow I may be splitting to Britain or Norway. I'm saying bye.